Okay, I hope my screen is also visible. Let's move to the same example again. Okay, so there is no other code at top and we are here. So what we are basically doing is we are assigning a value of a equal to 10. So let me debug this. So we are at the start of your program. So we don't have any kind of variables over here. So I'm assigning a equal to 10. So I assign this value a equal to 10. So I'm going to the next line. The next time it won't execute anything inside this function. It will go directly into this print of a. Okay. So I'm going to this next line. So it won't go into this function. It doesn't went to this inside this function. In this next line. So I now I have a variable called a equal to 10 in my scope. Okay, so I'm printing this a of 10. Okay, so this print is happening now. I printed this 10, so you can see the 10 is over here. Now I'm going to execute this function. This like just in the sense I'm going to call this function. So in the skins it is going to execute this function which is inside, like what are the code which is inside written inside this function it is going to execute. So I'm going to the next line now. So if you see here, so we don't have any, like we don't have any local variables. If you see in global we have a equal to 10. So in global variable you have in global space you have a equal to 10, but inside here we don't have any variable still yet. Okay, if I see the current value of now, it is a equal to 10. Now I create a variable called a equal to 10. So just execute this line. So in the local space which is inside your function scope, now you have a variable called a equal to 10. So if you do a, it will now refer to the value which is inside your local space. It will not go into your global space, whatever which is inside your function scope. It will read from the function scope. It will not read from your global scope. So now the value of a is now assigned to 11. Now it is a equal to 11. So if I print this line, it is going to print this a, and then it is going to come to the next line. So if I print this a now, inside this function, I created a new variable called a equal to 11. So now the value of a equal to 11. So if I go outside this function, the a which I created inside this test will go off. So I'm going to go here. So now print of a. Now my print of a has happened. So you can see the 11 has been printed over here. And now we are outside our function. So we are outside our function. We are in our global space. So now if you see the value of a equal to 10. So since you created new variable which is inside your function scope, it will not get reflected back outside your function scope. Okay, now your value of a equal to 10. So if you print this one, the value of a equal to 10. So whatever you declare or something which is inside your function scope will not be get affected by your outer scope. Till now clear? Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. But don't call me sir, okay? Call me Rahul. Uh, Fine. This is clear. Now let's say you want to use, or let's say you want to reuse your same variable which is in your global space. Let's say you have a equal to 10. For that a equal to 10, you need to assign it to 11. So you need to somehow basically change the value of a which is inside, which is in your global. So for that, what you can use, you do like global, and then you can give what is a variable you need to use from your global. So this is the syntax for to use the variable which is available in your global scope. If you do like this, now what it will do is it will go and use the global scope variable. Okay, instead of creating a new variable inside this function, what it will do is it will go and reuse the variable which is available outside your function. So in this case, first what is happening is it's going to print the value of a. So value of a is now equal to 10. So it is print the a, and it is going to execute the code which is inside this test function. So it will directly go into this test function, and since this global of a is there, so what this line is going to mean is use the a which is available in the global scope. So we use the a which is available from your global scope which is equal to 10. So we are reassigning the value of a from 10 to 11, and then we are printing it from here. So this is the second print which is here, and now we are printing it again the a. So since we use a global a which is your global scope variable, it is going to reassign. It is not going to create any local variable. It is going to reassign your a value which is in your global scope, and then you are going to print it here. And since we used global scope variable, it will be affected outside your function also. So I will debug this now. So now we don't have any variables. So I'm going to the next line. So I went to the next line. I have a variable called a equal to 10. I print that. So the 10 is printed. Now I'm going to go inside this. I'm going to go. Okay, I cannot do the breakpoint over here. So okay, I'm going to go and run the code which is inside this method. Okay, so I'm going inside this method. Now since we have used this global of a, so we don't see any local variable has been created. It is going to use the global variable from this one. So it is going to refer this a which is in our global scope. So it is going to reassign the value of a. So if you, oh my god, sorry, let me re-debug it again. So now we are at this stage. So this global of a is the a which is here. Okay, I'm going to the next line. Now if you see it has been reassigned the value to 11. Okay, so I'm printing the value of 11 here, and then since we are out of the scope, so this is our variable now. A is changed to 11 now. Okay, so this is how you can use a variable which is from your global scope into your function scope. Okay, so you can use some of a variable from your global scope into your function scope. Okay, but this is not recommended. Don't use this. It is not totally recommended. Okay, but don't use this. Maybe like for a small code, it will not be a huge impact. If in a case of like a heavy project, you use some of your global variables, you may end up in some scenario where you don't know how the full function flow is flowing. Okay, so global don't use much. So basically use your what you can do instead of writing like this, what you can do is you can do something like this. You can get the value of a from here. Okay, and then you can reassign the value of a, and then you can return the value of a. Okay, so what you can do here is you can do a equal to, okay, what I'm doing is instead of this test, okay, which is using a global, what I'm doing over here is I'm just requesting a parameter argument, and then I'm changing the value to that value, then I'm returning here. So the a will be changed now. So if I run this code again, my god, oh sorry, if I got to pass the value of a to it. So if I run this code again, you can see 10, 11 and 11. So the value is changed. So if you want to use something from your global scope, use like this. This is totally okay. This is advisable, and don't use this global key just you guys want to know. So I told you like there is something called global here. Okay. Till now, any doubts? There are no doubts. We can go to our next topics. So I'm going to make classic same example again. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is instead of this a as integer, sorry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it as a list, comma 2, comma 3. Okay, I'm going to have a 3 values to this. Okay, what you can do is, okay, this method I will take. So I have to take on this method. Or okay, I need to show you one more thing for you guys. In the previous code, what we have done is we are returning the value of a, and then we are reassigning the value of a from this return. So what if I doesn't do this reassign? So if you doesn't do this reassign the value of a, it will be same as like that. So it will not change the value inside this functions. So whatever you like, whatever the value like, if you don't do a reassign, the value will not be changed. The value of 10 will be 10 outside the scope, and the value of a equal to 11 inside this function scope. And since we haven't done this reassign, the value of a remains to be 10. Okay, this is how it will happen if you don't do the reassign while returning this value. Okay, but there is a special case in the case of list, since it is a mutable objects. So let's say you pass a list. Okay, we have a list called 1 to 3. Okay, and then we are printing a list over here, and I'm not reassigning it. Okay, just passing the list to it. Okay, and then what I'm doing to do is I'm going to do list of 0 is equal to the first element. I'm going to reassign it as 11, and then I'm going to print this a. Also, I'm not going to return this one, and then I'm going to print the a back again. Okay, which is my printing the return a again. In the case of like a variable like int and all, what it will do is it will print 10, it will do 11, and it will do like a 10 over here. But in the case of list, you can see something different is happening over here. You see, before calling our function, it was like 1, 2, and 3. This is inside our function. So there are some spelling mistakes. Don't that. It will be little clear for you guys. So before calling our method, the value is just like 1, 2, and 3. So we call our function now. So we are passing this value of a, which is our list, to this function. And inside this function, what we are going to do is we are changing the value of a equal to some value to 11. So we are changing the value of a of 0 to 11. So and then we are printing this inside this function. Okay, we printed it. But if you see, quite interesting thing has happened over here. Even though if you come outside of your function, this is like after your function has been happened, but you can see the value has been changed. So it is not like 1, it is changed to 11. This is happening because all the function calling in Python is done using a reference variable. So you will pass a reference to this function. Using this reference only, it is going to change everything. Okay, in the case of mutable object, what it will happen is if you change some value which is inside your function, it is going to affect outside your function also. This is happening only because of mutable. This will happen only to the mutable objects, and this is happening only because of call by reference. So you are passing a reference of this list. So inside your memory, you have a reference for this list. So you pass this reference to this a, and using this reference, it is going to the 0th index of this list. This 0th index is equal to 11, and it has reassigned the value to 11. So it has reassigned the value to 11. So it will go and reassign to the same variable. So this is what we have seen already, right? We have seen like what is it when taking the list classes, we have seen what is a mutable object. So if you change the value of a from one list to another, it will change again back here, right? The same thing will happen when you are calling these functions. So over here, if you change some value inside this list, it is going to it is going to affect back outside your list also. This is something you need to remember when you are passing a list and you are changing some values inside the list into a function. And you, if you don't want to affect outside, it is like a bit problem for you. It is going to affect even outside your function. Any doubts in this one? In this list passing and changing your values? So you can understand, right? This value will change. I hope you can understand the previous example. Now, what if you want to pass a list to it, to a function? You want to change some value, like values into this function, but you don't want to reflect back outside your function. So what in that case you can do is you can do the list dot copy. What this copy method is going to do is it is going to create a copy similar to this a. So it will do like a shadow kind of a, which is equal to 1, 2, and 3. So it will create again 1, 2, and 3 list, and then this list which is created, which is copied from the a, will be passed into this function. So this reference of this one passed is the copies one. So it is just a copy of what is your original list. So if you do dot copy, it will take a reference of a copied one, not the original one. So if you change some values inside your list, it will not reflect back again your function scope. Okay, so in this case, if I do a dot copy, you can see over here, before it is like 1 to 3, inside function it is like level 2 and 3. After it is now again like 1 to 3. Since we have passed a reference of a copied list, not the original list. If I remove this dot copy, you can see the value has been changed after the function calling. So after the function calling, the value has been changed to 11, 2, and 3. So far, any doubts?
Yeah, no doubts.
Okay. Anyone else having any doubts? Because uh, if you know all these concepts, this and all folds for method like functions, you can do whatever with these functions. So the only thing which is going to change is what you are going to write inside over here. It's like addition, subtraction, or maybe some complicated functions which is going to do some authentication for user, going to check into the value for cash withdrawals and other things. But the base concept is same. So you are going to pass some arguments to it, and again you are going to use that arguments back from here. Okay. Nothing else change apart from this. And what you can do is, I think there is one more thing I missed. I'll cover that. Not a big thing. Example for calling, but okay. Let's take this example back again. Just want to cover one more thing. So what we are doing over here is we are passing this 10. The 10 will go and sit into the first index to value. It's like which is the 0th index value, which is a value 1, and this will go and sit into a value 2. What if you want to do vice versa? What you can do is can do val 2 equal to this one and value 1 equal to this one. This is also possible. Like you can do like you can say this one is for value 2 and this one is for value 1. So this will also work. This is just giving a name like before, like while assigning, like while passing the values to the function, you are giving name. So this is for value 2 and this is for value 1. Okay, and this is simple concept. So I'm giving value 2 equal to 10, and what I can do is I can give some default value. So what if a user have not given the value? Okay, let's say giving value 1, I'm giving value 2 equal to 10. Okay, what if the user doesn't give the value 2 at all? So in this case, what it will do is it will go and take this default value from here. So this is just to assign a default value for an argument. You see now I have given value 1 equal to 10 and I have given value 2 equal to 10, value 2 equal to 10. So it has taken this default value, or you can simply override like level or 12, whatever you want. If you pass this value, it will go and rewrite this value for this value too. Or if you have not passed this argument, let's say if I not passed this value too, it will take a default value from here. That's all. This is just to assign a default value and also used with the named keys. So far, any doubts in functions? And I hope I'm not going too fast. If I'm going too fast, you can say like you can go a little slow. I'll go a little slow also. Okay, I hope there are no doubts so far. So you guys are somehow good with functions and you guys don't have doubts till now. Okay. So in the next topic we are going to go is for classes. So as first we have seen, right, why we need for a function. Same like that. What is a class and why we need to do something called a class. Okay. Since you have already know this function is already like some kind of a reusable thing where you can write something like add and sub and doing this, it is reusable. But this reusable is like kind of still to an extent. What you can do is you cannot club all those things. You cannot club all the arithmetical operations, and you cannot club all your exponential operations or scientific operations, other stuffs. So this clubbing of operations, and there is even some more concept which will comes under oops. So once we are taking oops, we'll take those concepts. So these kind of things will come with the classes. So now for layman terms, what is a class? So class is like a blueprint. So blueprint is something like you have a plan to build a house. So what it will do is you will get a blueprint. Blueprint is something like it will be drawn into a plain paper, white paper. You will see some kitchen and other stuffs over there. Okay. So it is like a blueprint. Using this blueprint, what you can build n number of houses. Same like that. Using this class, you can create n number of instances. So building houses like an instance. So you have a blueprint and you build a house for me. It is like one instance of a house, one house. Okay, totally that house is living now. You have a blueprint again. You build it for some other guy, so like guy B. So for person B, you are building it again. So that way you can, what you can do is you can create one more instance of a house. So this is how the class will be very useful for you guys. So you can do something like a kind of a similar kind of a blueprint. Okay, using this blueprint, what you can do is there is something called objects. Okay, using this objects, you can give something like a life to this blueprint, and you can make it, and you can invoke that, and you can get a real-time objects to it. Okay, so we'll go into this. So we'll see how you can write a syntax of a class. So class syntax is like class and then the class name. So I'm going with cars. Okay, this is my class name. So I have gone for a class called car. Okay, and if you see like over here we are giving our first letter with capital. So this naming convention is also there for class, so it should always starts with capital, so that if someone is reading, they will end up easily knows that this car is for your what to say class. It is not kind of a function or method. Okay, they will easily get to know. So let's say we have a class called a car. Okay, what this class can have is it can have some member functions and member variables. Okay, member variables, what the variable which you declare here. Let's say I declare something called let's say speed. Okay, is equal to 10. Okay, so my speed of my car is 10, so which means I'm assigning speed equal to 10. So this is a member variable, and you can have some member function. You can have a function called here, and you can have a start. Okay, what this start is going to do for you is this method is going to start your car. Okay, for now let's say this method is going to start your car. Okay, just print started. Let's assume that we have wrote some kind of high level code which is going to start your car, and it is printing the started over here. Okay, so you can go and you can say what is your max speed. So what is your max speed, you can go something similar to that, and assume this car is, it can go for 100 kilometers. So I have given 100 kilometers per hour, and I'm giving the start method. So this is your member variable, and this is your member function. Okay, this is how a typical class will look like. Class with a name. What is a class name you want to give? And it should start with capital. And you can have something called member variable. This is like a same variable. So this variable is belongs to this class, and you can have some variable values to it, and you can have some method called here. And this method you can declare something like what are the print functions and functions, whatever you want, you can do it over here. For now, just forgot about the self. I will come back at the last. Okay, so for now just remember something, and value is coming for you itself. Okay, so whenever you wrote a function which is inside of class, which is a member function of a class, you need to have this first argument called self. Okay, just remember to this up to this right now, like something is going to come you at in future. Okay, just forget self for now. Okay, this is how a class will look like. Now what you are going to do is you want to create an object. This is your blueprint now. Okay, this is your blueprint. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to create a car using that, and you want to start it, and you want to do some go somewhere out like that. So let's say you want to go somewhere and do something. So this is just your blueprint. This is called class. So using this blueprint, what you can do is like you can do some other stuffs. What currently we are going to do is you can create object for this class, which is like object for this blueprint, and it will give the particular instance of that class. Okay, so if I create an object, I can get a live car like that. Like remember, like you have a paper car, like a car which is drawn in your paper, and you create an object of that. It is like a key for you. So you have a car with you, and you are creating a key which is your object. Using this key, what you can do is you can drive a car and you can access every activities like same like that. You remember. So car is like a class, and your key is what with that you can access your whole car. Is like is I can say it's like an object. Okay, so now we are going to create our object. So just for simplicity, I'm making object as an object name. So to create an object, what you need to do is you need to call this class. So you are just calling this class, which is in the sense for now just remember like calling your class, same like calling your function. But later on I will do what this line will do in depth. So for now you just create an object. Okay, what with this object, right, this object is something similar to a key for your car. So with this object, what you can do is you can do a dot, and you can see I can able to get the max speed. So if you have a car key, and you can do everything with that car key, right, with that car, right? So same like that, since we have an object which is our car key, we are doing everything with that, with everything which is inside accessible in our class. Right now I'm just printing the value of this one, max speed. So to access this max speed which is inside your car, you need to give like object name dot variable name which is inside your class. And next step, what you can do is you can call the function which is also available inside your things. So to call the function which is inside your class, what you can do is you need to get the respective object name dot that method. Then you need to give the list of arguments. So right now we don't have any arguments, so we are just leaving it as an empty argument. So run this code. So oh, okay, I don't need this to be in print. The print is coming because of I have a print over here. Okay, so if I run this program, what it is going to do is this line is going to create me an object for this particular car. So the object has been created. Using this object, I can able to access the member variables and the member function which is available inside my class. So I can able to access my max speed variable, and I can able to access this start method, and I can able to call this method. So it is going to invoke and execute each and every line which is inside this method. So far, any doubts? Uh, just forgot about this cell for now, and this line for now. Apart from this, any other doubts? Okay, so the next topic which you are going to see is called a constructor. Okay, constructor is like this init method you can see, right? This is a init method. So the method name itself saves a double underscore and then init. So what this init method is going to do for you is it is going to initialize some values, memory space for you. Okay, so this init method you don't want to call it, so it will be called by itself, like it will be implicitly called by itself. So whenever you are doing this object creations, right, so you are doing this car off, so what it will happen is it will go and call this constructor. So it is a init method in Python, you can call it as constructor as per Java. So what it will do is it will go and call this init method by itself, and what are the code which you wrote inside this init method will be called, which will be executed for you. So let's say I will run this code again. So you can see this constructor is printing here, this is my init method, and then it is printing my max value, this is my max speed, and then I'm printing my start. Okay, so this is happening for now. Okay, let's say this, what is the use of this constructor? So basically constructor is used to assign some values at the start of your class. So we'll see with some example. Okay, let's say I want to create this for Ferrari, for just shorting, just naming it as Fer. Renaming is not happening for me. I'm just doing like that. Okay, I just created an instance of a class called Ferrari. So what I am thinking, like Ferrari car will go up to 80 kilometers per hour. So somehow I need to change this max speed to 80 kilometers. So this max speed is not going to change each and every time. For each and every car it can change, but it cannot change by time, right? So if you have a Ferrari car, a particular model, its max speed is fixed. It cannot go beyond that. Since it is a max speed, it cannot go lesser than that. Okay. So what you can do is in the constructor, you can get a like a parameter from here. I'm getting a parameter from here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my max speed. Okay, which is my car dot my max speed, which is equal to my speed. So I'm setting my speed as what is the speed which I'm getting from the user. Okay, so for now I don't call this method. We are not interested with this method for now. So what this line will do is it will go and it will create the object. While creating an object, so we have a constructor over here. We have already seen this constructor will be executed, and now what we are doing is we are passing a value to it. And since the value we are passing, that value will come under and set into the speed variable. Okay, for now forgot about this self. That is the next topic which is going to take. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reassign the car dot max speed, which is equal to the speed which I gave right now. Okay, so let me run this code again here. So you can see for Ferrari, like if I do like car of 80, which is I'm getting max speed of 80. Let's say I have something called Lamborghini. I'll copy. Okay, so I'm now creating a new instance of the same blueprint, and let's say this is for Lamborghini cars. So we just assume there is no way like there's not like that. So just assuming that this is like 100. So and then we are passing this 100 value to here, and since the 100 value will passed into this constructor, and then it will it will reassign this value to 100 now. So it will reassign the value of max speed to 100. So I'll make this as 0 so that you can see this reason is happening. So it will reassign the value to 100. So for Ferrari cars, it will, though you can see the max speed is something like 80, and for some Lamborghini cars, the max speed is like 100. So using this constructor value, you can assign some values which is going to be constant, like kind of a constant, which is going to be not frequently changed, and some values which you need up and front ready before doing any functions. Like you need some things which is up and front ready, right? So those kind of values you can pass it through the constructor. You can set it over your member variables. Okay, I will rerun this and see the first time it has been printed 80 for this Ferrari cars, and you can see the next time Lamborghini it has been printed like 100. So for any doubts in this constructor? I hope there are no doubts. Okay. So the next thing what we are going to see is we are going to talk about this self keyword. Okay, what the self keyword is. So if you see over here, like whatever the function which we wrote, let's say we want to write some function for def, and we want to say stop, and we need to pass this self object to it, to the function which you are writing inside this class. So what this self object is going to do for us, what the self variable or object is going to do for us, it is going to have the current instance of your object. So if you call with this Ferrari, what you can see is you can have a current instance of this Ferrari object in this self keyword. Okay, so to just make sure those things are correctly looking fine, what I can do is okay, I will do little different things. What I can do to show the difference. Okay, so let's say yeah, I can do something like this. Okay, started. Let's say what is the start time to it? Okay, like how much time it will take to start this car? Okay, let's say I'm getting that. Then I'm setting in started in so and so time. Okay, I'm just printing it. Okay, this start is happening. This start is also happening, and we don't need this 80 now. This 100 now. So the start, let's say this will happen. This start will happen in 2 seconds, and this start will happen in 3 seconds. And I'm going to call the same start method now. So what the self keyword will have is it will have a reference of this Ferrari. This will have a reference of your Ferrari object. Okay, let me debug that so that you can understand what that self is. Okay, so now I can I just created the object of this Ferrari car, and then I'm just calling the start method. You came here, and the time which is passing as 2, and the 2 is passed over here, so that I'm getting my time equal to 2. And you can see a self variable is over here. So if you can extend the self object, you can see the max speed is set to 0 for this one. Or what I can do is to just show the difference. This constructor also black, but you can see the difference. Let me rerun this one. Okay, sorry. Okay, now what we are doing is we are creating a constructor same like what we have a constructor previously, right? So we're having a constructor, and for Ferrari cars we are giving 80. So if you go into the self object, you can see the max speed is 80. So this self means the current instance though. So this self means the current object which you are passing it, right? So that instance will come into your self. Okay, so I will go to this next line. So where we are creating this car for Lamborghini. So let's say we created a instance for Lamborghini. So this is your Ferrari instance and this is your Lamborghini instance. Now, okay. So now what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to okay, I'm not calling with this one. I need to call with this one. I'll just rerun it again. Okay, now I'm going to create an object for this Lamborghini. So I'm going to this and I will go like I have created an object called Lamborghini to it. So you can see the max speed is equal to 100, and then okay, I haven't called that method. Okay, it is here. So I'm calling this method now. So I'm calling this method of start. So I'm going into this method. So now my self keyword is what it is coming. So this self keyword is going to refer with what object you call this function. So we called with this Lamborghini object. You see over here a max speed is equal to 80. But when we are at this line, you can see max speed is 80. When we are using a Lamborghini object, you can see the max speed is 100. So with this, like you can see the self object is what is it going to refer with what object you call this function. Clear with this, or I will tell you one more time. I will redebug this again. So I need to put some breakpoints here. So first we are coming. So we are creating an object for Ferrari cars. So we created an object for Ferrari cars, our constructor and all invoked. So we are setting our max speed is equal to 80. So now if you see inside the Ferrari, our max speed is equal to 80. Okay. So now what we are going to do is we are going to call this method called start. So inside the start method, we have a variable called self. Self is like an object. This object is going to refer with what object you call this function. So we call this function with this Ferrari object. So this Ferrari object has a max speed of 80. So if you go into this and if you can see the max speed is 80 inside this self object. Okay. Then next time what we are going to do is we are going to create an object for Lamborghini cars. For Lamborghini cars, we are going to create an object with 100 as top speed. Okay, we are creating this max speed with 100, and then we have created this Lamborghini object. Okay, then if you go into this function, now the self will refer to this Lamborghini object, because with this Lamborghini object only you started this car. Okay, you called this method, which is in the case with what method you call with what object you call this function will come here. So if you see the self, you can see the max speed is equal to 100. So for Ferrari cars you can see 80, for Lamborghini cars you can see 100. This is because this self key which is referring to the object which is used to call this function. Clear with this self? Any doubts, or still is it confusing? Do I need to reiterate it once? Just give a pass so that if like you reiterate it once within yourself, so within your head, just clarify like the self key is like too important topic. If you are not understanding it, can you tell me now so that we can revisit it now again? If there are no doubts, then it is totally fine and good. There is any doubt or any doubt, like do I need to reiterate it again? I will go and reiterate and tell the whole topic again and again. That is not a big deal. So I hope there are no doubts with this self key and this is self object. I hope you guys are clear, right?
Yes.
Okay, I think this covers pretty much basic of a class. Okay, so you know how to write a function, you know how to pass a function. Same, whatever you read under the function, which is going to come inside over here. The same thing is going to apply for your uh, function is just going to write inside your class methods. Okay, those things are same. You can do return functions, and you can have a number of parameters of which you want. You can return more than one or two values, that is also fine. You can take a list and you can manipulate on that, that is also fine. And mostly if I go outside this, I need to go into oops concept, which basically I don't want to go on today. So if there is something I'm missing, just give me 2 minutes. I will check. Is there something base which we are missing right now? If there is nothing I can think of, like we can end this session. Um, there are lots and lots of stuff with class which will come inside oops concept, like inheritance, polymorphism, and other things. Right now, I don't want to start those things, because if I start, it will take again a lot of time. I don't want to start that. I'm just thinking, is there any other thing which I'm basic things in class which I missed it? I hope so. No. So far, any other doubts? In between that, we can take this 5 minutes as Q&A. So far, any doubts? Anything? Any concept which you have gone through today or in the past week? No doubts, right?
Yeah, no doubts.
Okay. Okay. I think Arun, if we start other topics, it will take a lot of time. Can we stop it for today for till this one? And I will send a task with relate to this one after this call, or maybe on tomorrow morning. A task like a small kind of a snippet code. You can write it on, right? Work on that so that you can have hands-on experience. So after this call, I will check it out what I can give with the easy kind of whatever you have learned to cover everything. I will check on that, and then I will share you a small task on that. And I hope that we have covered what are the basics you need to work on Python. Okay, so there are something oops concept and other things. If we take it, will go for 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, if I don't want to start, like I don't want to go into deeper of each and every concept, it will take a long of time. So in the interest of time, what we plan to do is maybe from tomorrow we can start sessions on API, how we can write a backend code for API. So we'll tell you what is an API and how we can write some APIs. So then and there, if we see a new topic which we needed, we can go into the topic and we can cover those concepts. So that is what we have planned so far. So I think from tomorrow, maybe we can start a few API codes which we can write, and we can do some backend server codes. Okay, hopefully from tomorrow, I think. But before that, just go through all these things. What is a class and what is a function, and whatever we have learned so far, just go through this. We have gone through only basics, not like pure everything, each and everything of each and every concept. But these basic concepts are fine enough for you to start working on a project. If you are clear with all these basic concepts, you can start working on project. Eventually you can learn each and everything. Fine with you guys? I hope there are no questions. If there are no questions, I think we can end the session for today. Any other questions or any other doubts you have? I think we don't have. I think everyone are clear with this, but kindly go through this every concept which you have learned so far, so that you can get some at least little hands-on experience. Okay. Then from the next section, it will be little easier for you guys. Fine. Okay. I think that's it for today. We can close the call. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. There are no doubts.